One of the things I try to express to every new transplant patient is the importance of them being in control. And what I mean by that is to be in control of their environment as a whole. Everything that's going on around them, what's coming into their bodies, going out of their bodies, whatever, to be in control of that. And there are three major areas I want to discuss with you for just a moment today in which I think you ought to have complete control, if at all possible. Number one, you have to be in control of your environment as far as the exposures that you're involved in. What I mean by that is, especially when it comes this time of year, flu season, cold season, when viruses are spread most often, you need to be in control of your environment as far as that goes. Now, obviously, if you are going to be in larger crowds, such as at schools, at churches, at ball games, in malls, or bigger situations like that, that's when you have to be the most cautious. As a matter of fact, sometimes when the flu seasons and all are at their peaks, I would really suggest, if possible, to avoid most of those situations when you can. But when and if you have to go into those situations, again, just being sure that where you are is as clean as possible. Your immediate environment, wiping off a buggy in the grocery store, that sort of thing. Or when you go into a public place, like sometimes I go into a public place and there's seating, I have no problem taking out a wipe or something, wiping that seat down, wiping off a table in a restaurant, that sort of thing. But it also may be times when it's necessary, and always is, that you thoroughly wash your hands, that you use hand sanitizers, or even go as far as to wear that mask, that dreaded mask, the mask that causes some apprehensiveness, maybe some embarrassment. But hey, folks, it's life. And I know I harp on that a lot. As a matter of fact, I probably mention that more often than any other subject, but being sure that you're not exposed to some bad stuff, things that are eventually going to hurt you. Now, in the second place, I think it's very, very important that we control our environments as far as also what we intake. That is what we eat, what we drink. When you go out to those places like restaurants, for example, you're going to have much less control, if you will, over your diet, what you take in, than you would if you're at home. For example, if you're at home, you may cook foods a certain way. You may prepare them a certain way. You may season them a certain way. And in a restaurant in general, you may not have that control at all. There may be way too much salt, too much sugar, too much artificial flavors or colorings and such as that, and you don't have any control over that. Now, that's not to say that you should never go out to eat, and that's certainly not to say that we shouldn't try to enjoy ourselves, especially among our family and friends, but it may mean that we've got to make certain choices on the menu just to avoid those things that we don't need to be overloaded with, if you will. One of the things I've found is if I know that my family or some friends or whatever want to go to a restaurant where there's just not a lot of option out there for me, I'll go ahead and eat most of my meal at home, whatever I can pack in and fill up on, so that when I get there, I can make better choices, so that I'm not just, using my eyes and my watering mouth to make all my decisions for me. So be in control of that environment, and that especially goes in with your food, but also with what you drink. I would choose water over everything else. You just know what water is, and it's certainly good for your body. So that's one of the things you can do. But number three, you need to be in control of your environment as far as the environment itself. And what I mean by that is, sometimes you're going to be in environments where there's a lot of smoke or a lot of smog or a lot of contaminants, things that you could really encounter that are going to hurt you very quickly, especially if you're a heart or lung patient. Those situations can be difficult when you get out about maybe in a bigger city, or like I am in the country, when sometimes they just simply burn the national forest up here. There's some situations there where I'm probably better served to stay in the house, or to stay away from that, or stay away from those environments, at least in close proximity, just for my own good. In addition to that, out in those type of environments, that may again be a place where you can mask up or avoid altogether, whatever, just so that you can make it. I'm also very sensitive, not everyone is, but I'm also very sensitive to temperature changes. Higher temperatures, lower temperatures, at least the extremes of both, they really, really hurt me. So I have to avoid that. So being in a controlled environment, that's what you want to do. Now, there are a lot of other situations through which I think we have to have complete control, but these are the basic three. just being in control of your exposure, being in control of your intake and what you take into your body, as well as being in control of your general environment and basically what is going to affect you the most. I hope this has helped you in some way. It's been very brief, but nonetheless, I hope it's been helpful. If it has, how about like, subscribe, and share? And until next time, stay stronger, friends.